classes are applied by using colon. Classes are applied by using colon. So if it is visited, then we have to apply color. So for visited, I will apply color as gray, something. That means the visited links will be in gray color. And why they are called dynamic? Because if I click on this link, that means I visited. After visiting, I come back now. When I come back, its colors will be changed to gray. That means it will change dynamically according to the situation. So that is what we call this as dynamic. Similarly, this is visited. We have active also. Active I will give as color as red. Color as red. Then you can see here when we define color as red. So that is the active one, color as red. You can see here generally. So color, red color active means when I move the mouse onto it and hold down the button, then it is active. When I out, then it will be visited. Active means when the mouse hold down, that is active. Not like that. When I move the mouse onto it, suppose by default underline is there. We want to remove underline for hyperlinks. Then in general link, we have to use an option, text decoration. Text decoration, we have to set it to none. We have to set the text decoration to none. So once the text decoration is set to none, and you can see that, so they don't have an underline. But when mouse pointer is over, I want to put an underline. So then what you can do is you can simply display underline with an option called anchor hover. Hover means mouse pointer is over. This hover is not only for hyperlink. It is used for buttons, divs, spans, anywhere. Generally, link visited active, these are used for hyperlinks, anchors. But hover and all these things can be used, hover can be used for div spans also. We can use for them. That means if I am writing here, hover text decoration will be underlined. Then automatically you can see it will mouse over, the underline will come. So that is the effect you want to display. You can do a lot of things actually. Even you can hide the content, and you can handle so many interactions also. So that means this is for several. For example, not only for these anchors, for headings. Suppose I have a heading and I am defining like, so ID. So, and it is head. Now here I say welcome. And I'm writing here hash head, that is ID. So color as green. And generally hash head and hover, colon hover. Then I will change background color black. And I said color as white, like this. Now you can see when I move the mouse onto it and move the mouse, it will change into that on mouse over. It will get that effect. You can change the width, you can change the height. Actually, we can add several effects. For example, we can do that with several effects. So that means we can configure several effects. Suppose even animations you will see later. We can give certain animations also. So initially I am giving an IMG source. So from assets, we have some shoe.jpg. And so the width is 100 or 50 and height is also 50. So now for that image, general, that is image. So IMG, suppose you don't need to define the width here. Directly you can configure here. Image width is 100 and image height also 100, like this. That is the normal image height and width. So when image hover, that means mouse is hover, then I can change the width to 300 and height also 300 pixels. Now you can see that it is going to change on mouse over the size to 300 pixels. But to transform from normal to hover and hover to normal, it is taking just only few seconds, just 1 second only actually. Within 1 second, it is able to change. But I want to delay a little bit. So we can delay that. I want to delay a little bit. So that means what I want to do here is delaying. Delaying means I will simply put an option called transition. Transition, later in animations, we will learn detailedly. As of now, transition indicates how much time it should take to change from one effect to another, initial to final. I will put as 2 seconds. Okay. 2S is 2 seconds. You can say 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 1 minute. So minute will be written in seconds only. Now I will save this here and you can see that means when I move the mouse onto it, then it will say 2 seconds to zoom. And again, when I remove mouse from it, then it will be immediately normal, not immediately normal. To return to normal also, transition, I can give as 2 seconds. That means on mouse over, it will take 2 seconds. On mouse out, it will take again 2 seconds. So that means it is going to take 2 seconds to mouse over and mouse out. It's going to handle 2 seconds for mouse over and mouse out. It is going to manage that like this. Generally, this is the option how it handles. Later with animations, we can rotate, you can do a lot of things. That is the secondary part. Later, you are going to learn about it also. Initially, this is the approach we need to follow. So that means how we need to configure and how we need to apply the effects and define them. So technically that we need to do that with the help of these options. So hover is used in so many locations later also. So you will see, and you can add a lot of transitions, animation effects later. Hover means when mouse pointer is over. So we have link, we have visited, we have hover, and we have active. Active, visited, link, these are only for anchors. We cannot use for others. Focus, target is important. Focus and target is important. So what is the concept of focus and target? Focus is nothing but this is used for forms. That means when a form get focus, okay, you can see, for example, I am adding, so name, and we have a text box, input type is equal to text. Now I will save this. You see, when I click inside, so it is getting focus. When I click outside, it will be normal. So when it gets focus, you can apply some effects. So that means you can simply write here for input, because there is only one input. Otherwise, you use ID or class for it. For input, when it gets focus, Then I want to put border as 2-3 pixel solid red color. And you can see when I click inside, it will get that red color focus. And click outside, it will be normal. That is focus. Not only that, you can add several effects also. And several options actually sometimes. Suppose beside that text box, we have a span. And span is having like, so name in block letters. That is a tip we have to give. By default, it should not display. Currently, it is showing by default. Now, what we will do is, we will write here, like input is the text box. Or you say input type is equal to text. Or you can use an ID for more convenient way. ID or a class, you can use ID or a class. To keep it in a more convenient way, we can use ID or class. Now, if input type is equal to text, it is text. And here, observe type is text. And I want to mention about a span beside it. Then which selector I can use? I want to mention the span beside it. Not every span, the span beside text box. How you can refer that? Adjacent selector. How you write adjacent selector? Good. Adjacent selector is written with, adjacent selector is written with plus a span. That means it is going to apply not to all spans, because page can have several span. So it will apply only to the span. It will apply only to the span that is just beside it. Only the span beside the text box. What I want to do is, initially, I want to keep it as display as none. Then it will not display. Again, I want to display when mouse it gets focus. Then I will write like this: input type is equal to text and colon focus. If it gets focus plus a span, that means the span beside it will display inline. I am writing inline. Display inline. And you can see that it is going to display here. Inline means side by side. We have display block, which will come below. We can use inline, we can put block. When I click inside it, it will display. And when I click outside, lose the focus, then it is hidden. So when the mouse is inside it, it will display and it will hide. That's we can manage. So not only applying the colors, hiding the messages, showing the messages, lot of such interactions can be managed. Lot of such interactions can be managed by using this display option. We can write as display inline or display that we can manage. So technically, that is the display style, how you can configure and work with the display style. Displays, you will learn a lot of things. Display, flex, display, other options also will be there. Here we are using, just see, if you think this is lengthy for referring, you can have IDs also, right? ID, I say uname. Then we can access simply like, instead of writing all this, you can say hash uname. That means the ID uname. Here also you can simply put hash uname. That means the ID uname. So, and it is focus and the span beside it. That means it will display same. You can see it is working same. So that is generally we use as pseudo, that is a focus. When the element get focus, what effect you want? When the element loses the focus, what effect you want? That you can manage by using these options. So one more important target. This target option is also very much used with hyperlinks. We regularly use with hyperlinks. Target is also defined and used with hyperlinks. How you configure with the hyperlinks? So that means, for example, you might have learned in HTML, intra-document navigation, inter-document navigation. So in HTML, how to create links that can navigate from one location to another location in the same page. Links generally navigate from one location to another location. Now, how to handle the navigation from one location to another location within the page, and how we can apply effects reasonably for that. So what generally we do is, suppose we have a div, or here I will keep an header. In the header, we have like an anchor. So this is HTML, and I just keep a span pipe symbol, another anchor CSS, and another span. So pipe symbol, so some anchor JavaScript like this. And in that, so we have section. So I need to configure in the section. So header, we have section. So in the section, I'm defining some effects. For example, we have a div. Div ID is topic. In that, we have a heading. So heading. So for example, the ID is HTML. HTML is the ID. And here we have HTML and a paragraph. It is a markup language. There can be some small paragraph and another ID. This is CSS. Heading 2, CSS. So styles for HTML elements. So and another div, ID as. So here we configured the ID as JS JavaScript, and here heading as JavaScript, and paragraph, it is used to define effects. It define dynamic interactions. Okay, something like this. Now, what I will do is all are divs only, right? Generally, these are all divs. Now, every div is having usually at the top, I will give. Generally for div, I will apply as color. Suppose border as a 2 pixel solid, and I applied